gel defensively for y'all in the last couple of games?
Just the want to. Losses teach you a lot of lessons. It brings out a lot of stuff because winning disguises a lot of stuff. So the biggest thing that came out of our losses was we just didn't want it. The other team wanted it more. So when you're talking about defense, it has some skill, but a lot of it is just wanting to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing that switched up for us in the defensive end. It's like we want to do it. We understand how valuable these games are, these possessions are. And that's just really what's clicking for us.
He had 9 offensive rebounds for you tonight. It was 9 to 1 the edge on the offensive glass. Just how important was winning that battle, and especially the work that you and Megan did, especially in that area.
I mean, that's definitely one of the things we talked about. This team, the Connecticut team, they rebound. They're physical. We just got to keep them off the board. So for us to rebound them, it's kind of pretty cool. Just something that we need to work on and continue to get better.
Question for either one. Connecticut cut the lead to 7 points in that third quarter. Chelsea checks back into the game at the 4:03 mark. You guys closed that third quarter on a 9-3 run. Ultimately, it's an 18-7 run to run it back to 18. I just want to look at her assist numbers really quick. I think she only had one. So second straight, or excuse me, she only had one in this game. But my question is, how much does her sheer presence on the court promote ball movement?
It's a big difference. It's a huge difference for us because it's more than, I know a lot of people love her fancy passing, and that's what is great. But Chelsea gets us organized. She gets us in a flow and in a system that we're very comfortable and used to, and she makes sure that the right people are getting the ball at the right time. And that doesn't necessarily have to come from her, but definitely just making sure that people are in the right spaces. I mean, that's what you want in a point guard, and we're so lucky to have her in that. So we know those assists are going to climb up very, very quickly, but just her presence as a whole really just kind of has a calm mind for everyone.
That's exactly what I was going to ask, Asia. She seems to just steady you guys.
Yeah.
Even when she's on the bench, knowing that she could sub in, you guys just seem to have taken a collective deep breath.
Yeah.
Does it feel like that the last 2 games?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, people are starting to go back into their normal roles. I can only imagine the pressure that Jackie and KP had to go through to try to not only fill Chelsea's shoes, but it's an uncomfortable way. I mean, it was uncomfortable for me to bring the ball up sometimes. So just knowing that Chelsea's available for us to everyone goes back to their respective positions where they're great at and they can flourish in, that's the biggest difference for us. And you do feel it. So we're glad that she's back and she's healthy, and now the real work begins.
Asia, most consecutive 20-point plus games for you in regular season play. That's obviously a new league record. I know that you're really humble and don't necessarily like to talk about your accomplishments, but what does that mean to you? And then Kia, how proud are you to see your teammate accomplish something like that tonight?
Man, it is what it is. It's something that I'm not trying to do. It's just a matter of just taking what the defense gives me, and just I feel like the biggest thing this year for me was just preparation. I knew this season was going to be very hard for us because not only are we going for a third one, but everyone's gotten better. This league is getting better. That's the whole point of the growth. And I just wanted to make sure that I was ready for the moment at all costs, and my teammates are allowing me to do so. So the numbers are great. I love it. But at the same time, we still have a lot of things that I need to work on, a lot of things that we need to work on. But I'm blessed. I mean, my teammates really understand just the flow of my game and where to get me to my spots and help the game be comfortable to me. So I'm blessed to be able to just play alongside of a locker room that's so do your thing. And I feel like hopefully I could do the same for them.
Okay, she's a little too humble. I don't think people realize how hard she works. To have your franchise best player be the hardest worker, I think just sets you above the rest. And she really sets a tone for us. When Asia's going, we're all going. She's the one, extra workouts, always in the gym, trying to get better every day for this team. And I think that's kind of what sets us apart from the rest, because we have such a great leader who works really hard, and then basically you either get with it or get lost. And she's dragging us all along.
Asia, Becky said before the game that she felt the Seattle win was probably collectively the best effort.
Yeah.
At both ends of the court. Now, after 2 wins, especially beating Connecticut the way that y'all did, even though they closed it, when you wanted to turn it on, you guys turned on. Does it feel, was it the last 2 games, does it feel like the aces of last year finally, did it feel, what did it feel like out
Honestly, I don't think we'll ever get the feeling of the aces of last year. I feel like that is something that we need to completely get out of our mind because it's different. It's a different flow of the game. It's a different pace for all of us, and we have different teammates. So it's not going to be the same feel, but I think we are starting to form our identity that we're familiar with. That is what we can really, that's what stays the same. Not for, like personnel, we know people can get buckets. We know any given night people can get what they want to get, but like our identity has to be it. So if to answer your question, I think our identity is slowly starting to become more us, not necessarily as last year because we're not that team, but I think I think our identity is slowly starting to do it because we're starting to really buckle down on the defensive end, and then once we get that. The rest is going to be the rest. We know the offensive threats that we have on this team, but defensively, I think we're slowly starting to figure out our identity, and that's what's shifting, and that's what's getting us wins.
We're gonna jump to Zoom really quick, Matthew and then Rory.
Hey ladies, congrats on the win. Key, I wanted to ask you, two of the last three games you've had double-digit rebounds. You had one of your better sort of overall games tonight. You started the season a little slow. How do you feel like your body is recovering from your injury, and do you feel like you're back to being 100% where you are, especially now that you've had two out of your last three games look like you've been more yourself, rebounding and defense?
I mean, what basketball player really is 100% all the time, right? It's just, day by day, it's a process. Like I had surgery in October, and every day you just gotta do rehab and get better. Some days are better than other, but just trying to do what I can to help the team and play hard. And luckily this week I felt pretty good, so hopefully it kind of continues for the rest of the season.
Oh my God, TP, hey! Love you!
I have the third part of the nerd.
I know the nerd is back together. I love it.
And, I want to also save some time in case TP has.
He's gone. He left us.
Asia, I saw you snapping there for a moment when somebody mentioned he has 10 rebounds, and thinking about like Chelsea getting her first field goal since her injury. Jessica getting on the court for her first minutes in her whole career. I know she mentioned the other day to us, just how much she watched you as a player, and how much she learned as a young talent in high school, college from watching you. But I think about you, Asia, as like a leader and a teammate, and how much value you take into that.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to see so many of your teammates have some of these special moments tonight?
Man, you might make me cry again. No, it's what literally fuels me. I'm so glad that my teammates are flourishing in the way that they're doing it in their own way, because that's what makes us great. I mean, yeah, we're pretty decent at putting the ball in the basket, but like to just see people being great in their respective roles and fields is something that I'm like, oh, I love it. Like I wish I could just bottle it up and just like show everybody, because this team works so hard. Like, I don't think people understand how hard we really work and how hard we really get after it. We see the banners and the aftermath and everything else that people may see, but y'all don't really see the trenches that we be in. And so we prep for these moments, these big moments, so we can shine bright. And I love it. And I love seeing them shine bright. And I love kind of constantly being in their ear and hyping them up, because that's what we all really need sometimes. It's just a little encouragement to make sure that we're on the right path. So any moment I hope that I can like kind of just be that for them, because I know it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
The guys, would you like the last question?
Yeah, I was gonna put you in, for either one of you. It felt like you talked about how good the defense was tonight. It felt like y'all were giving the guards a lot more room to navigate tonight.
Yeah.
Was that game plan specific, or do you feel like the trust is kind of building back on that front?
I think the trust is slowly building back. I think we're starting to really see that people are going to be at the right place at the right time. And that's something that Becky always says, is everyone has to do their job at the right time and be in the right place. And I think we're starting to build that a little bit more. And then when you get that, you can kind of deviate from the scout a little bit, because you know that your team is going to have your back and we can communicate. So I think our communication is getting a lot better than what it was in the beginning of the season.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
We will be back shortly with Becky.
Becky, come here and ask her about Mudita.
in which she brings to this team compared to 2 games ago, working backward. It seems as if this team just is in a better flow, as Asia said.
I mean, she's a true point guard. I mean, she calms you down, she gets you in spots, she gets you in sets. It's not just always about scoring. There's multiple ways you can impact a game other than scoring. And she impacts in all the right ways.
Becky, DeWanna Bonner was scoreless in that first half, finished 2 for 10 from the field. What edge defensively are you seeing from your team right now?
Just trying to make things difficult. Our defense has been more intentional. They've been playing it harder. We've been having better pickup points, just more of a unit. Everybody locked in at the same time. I thought, key like our bigs defense tonight especially was on point. And not only that, not only did they defend, but they rebounded. And that's a team that is a handful on the boards. So just a lot of attention to detail and a high care factor to not only defend, but then go grab the ball.
Becky, opponents coming into this homestand had a combined record of 31-7. For a team that was looking to find itself, did this 3-game stretch help to do it?
I mean, we had obviously some good moments. We had some lapses too. So we're going to keep just building. Hopefully more of those good moments ahead and, minimizing mistakes. That third quarter, I think we had 6 turnovers, go over 6. Those droughts and the tendency for us to want to get it back, or any one player want to get it back, quickly. We got to avoid those urges and just keep playing the right way, moving the ball and getting good looks. Because you're not going to, when you're struggling from the floor, the worst thing you can do is force it, because you're just going to struggle more. It's like you have to get more disciplined, more intentional about moving with purpose and getting the ball popping.
Becky, you mentioned the rebounding, the offensive boards, especially 10-3, I think were the number. Just how important was that as far as keeping the flow going, and the minutes that Megan had provided off the bench? How crucial were those tonight?
I thought she did a great job coming in, again, impacting the game positively, whether that's playing great defense. I thought she did a nice job on AT and the different people that she had to cover over the course of her minutes. Solid. At the end of the day, I want solid, and she came in and gave us solid minutes. Who was your other one? Do you have another question about
It was
me?
just about the offensive rebounds, 10-3, and how important that was as far as keeping the flow going offensively against their defense.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't shoot it great from 3, so there's a lot of long rebounds. And that's something that we've been wanting to do is, get to those 50-50 balls, the long rebounds, and just be more active on that end, especially on nights that the ball's not, particularly going in the hole well for us.
Coach, Asia mentioned before you came in here, of course, she said that she feels like the trust is improving within this team, the communication and the identity is starting to form. Do you feel like that as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it starts on the defensive end. I think that's one thing that's really admirable about Connecticut is they play defense every night. They're the same every night. You know what you're going to get. And we're building to that right now where, every night I know I'm going to get a solid defensive effort, a solid, so we're still a work in progress. We still know we have a long ways to go. But it was a nice start, and, that's a very good team. So beats losing for sure.
All right, we'll jump to Zoom. Jordan, go ahead, and then Rory.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win. Back-to-back wins against Seattle and Connecticut. Very impressive. Obviously, I know you have some things you want to work on, but do you think these 2 were the first steps to getting back to the way the A's play basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're starting to see glimpses of us. Like I said, for the most part, I thought we had some really good stretches there. And it's just about being sharp the full 40. So we're we're getting there. You know, what can I say? We're getting there. I think our new pieces are understanding kind of what we're wanting to do more just with like our base defense and our base offense. They're getting a better understanding, which helps them not think as much because it's becoming more of a habit, which is good. You know, but like I said, we're still, yeah, it kind of doesn't matter who we're playing. You know, we got to be locked in and focused and worried about us because we've dropped some games that we had no business dropping. So now it's just hard work because we got ground to make up.
Thank you. Congrats again.
Thanks.
Hi, Becky. I was curious, I wanted to dig a little bit more into offensive rebounds. Because I remember a couple of weeks ago, you told us something to the effect of, you know, you can't be a terrible offensive rebounding team and terrible in transition at the same time. And it seemed like tonight, at least, both of those things were going fairly well. A ton of points off fast breaks, that stretch from third with offensive rebounds. How repeatable do you think that is, especially now having bolstered your size a little bit in front of Jessica and Megan got minutes? Like, how repeatable is it to see this team actually do both of those things really well?
Well, I think on nights when we're missing, there are rebounds to be had. So I basically told them the 4s and 5s can go. I've never really told them that. I told them that a couple games ago that 4 and 5 can go. And then our 1, 2s, and 3s need to be sprinting back if you don't have a chance at it. I'll tell you the other thing that has helped our transition defense is our rim reads. A lot of times we were going in there, throwing it up against 2, 3 people. It's just like a live ball turnover. You have people in the deep corner and then you're throwing up crap shots. It just put a lot of pressure on us in transition. So I think our offensive efficiency is helping our transition defense. But also, you know, we're kind of loosing them, I'll say, to go to the glass a little bit more.
One more in the room and go one last one in the Zoom.
Asia, of course, is very humble, but she became the first player in WNBA history tonight with the amount of 20-point consecutive games that she's had. When you've mentioned before, players like Jackie and Kelsey, you can get a little bit more out of them. How much more can you get out of Asia?
I don't know. She's a beast. She just always does it the right way, you know. How much more can I get out of her? I don't know. I mean, I didn't take her out, I don't think, in the second half till late. She's really getting in great shape. You're starting to see her, you know, defensively be really engaged and locked in. She's great. I think she's still more concerned with pulling greatness out of her teammates. And when she does that, we can get more out of other people's. She'll actually end up getting more because she's now getting to the point where she's seeing every defense and she's, you know, she sees 2, 3 people and she's getting rid of it. And then, you know, we get to play on the backside with numbers. So I just think her reading the defense is getting so much better. Her reading in space. And she just wants to win at the end of the day, and her willingness to do whatever I ask of her or the team asks of her, and even things that we don't ask of her, she still does them, you know. So I told you all this last year. If I played her full game, she would have been averaging, I think I said 28 and 13 or something like that. So she's playing more because we haven't had those blowout 30, 40-point wins. So she's playing more. And so now you're seeing the numbers and how efficient she is.
Just to say with Asia real quick, she might have set us up, but she told us to ask you who is Mudita.
Mudita?
Yes, that's spelled Mudita.
Oh.
Interesting definition.
It's a dharmic word, and it means to have, I think, vivacious joy for other people's success. And so I told them they gotta have mudita, feelings for each other, which I actually got from our film lady, Katie. Congrats, Katie. I I'm not a plagiarist. I didn't come up with it. I'm not a plagiarist. I'll give you credit. I really liked the word though. And I thought it was, I got a text the other day from a friend of mine and she said, you guys, they looked happy and joyful. And, that piece, when you're talking about identity, I think that's been part of our identity in the past 2 years, has been that authentic joy for not only playing with each other, but with each other, for each other. And I think you're starting to see the vibe get back a little bit. So we'll keep having mundita feelings.
Well, it's gonna close us out here. Sorry, apologies to those in Zoom.
Becky, can I?
Actually, when they miss the half court shot and they all cheer because they want the money, they're like, you're not giving me mundita feelings. They're all wanting each other to fail at the half court shot.
Can I piggyback off that? I'm just curious. And I could be fishing here, but 2 games ago when Asia became emotional, that whole speech that she gave sort of defines that. Did that come up? And because you had just before that said they're not playing like they wanted. Did that trigger that thought, or had you been mentioning that? I'm just curious if you're like, hey, we all need to think like Asia did that day when she got emotional.
I mean, I think it's a, I didn't have a term for it, but that's always what we were trying. We would call it, make each other great, be happy for each other, like be invested in each other's success, be intentional about each other's success. So when Katie hit me with that word, I was like, that's a fantastic word. I love that word. But more importantly, I think her teammates saw Asia's care factor. And if you can, Asia's the same person in every room she walks into. There's no false pretenses. She is who she is, and she's amazing. But when your teammates see, their star, vulnerable like that, I think they felt that too. I wanted to just walk her off the stage and be done, because it's tough to see. She's not really a crier. So to see her emotional was I think tough and eye-opening for everybody.
I think that's our mic drop moment. Thank you, Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
Thanks, everyone.